Ho, ho, ho! I'm Ken Steele. Welcome back to our annual 10 with Ken holiday special, already in progress. I've collected more than 500 college and university greeting videos from around the world last December, and we're taking an hour-long, in-depth look at some of the best in a series of episodes this month. I hope you're hungry, because this time we're tackling gingerbread houses, holiday baking, and campus feasting in Part 2, Season's Eatings. Every year, baked goods and particularly gingerbread are prominent in higher ed holiday greeting videos. Often we see students baking together, sometimes mishaps and all. The shape or decor of the gingerbread is almost always the school's logo. I'd have to say this Wellesley College video was best in its class last year. More often than not, the bakers are joined by the school mascot, like Azul the Eagle at Florida Gulf Coast University in Fort Myers. The heartwarming payoff comes, of course, when students get to share the cookies around campus in a gesture of goodwill, sugaring students up for their exams. At Laurentian University, interim president Pierre Zundel made the rounds, spreading holiday cheer and deliciously empty calories around the campus library. At Cape Breton University, the cookies were a family recipe of mascot the caper.
Hi there, I'm Emily, and I'd like to welcome you to an exciting holiday edition of Cooking with the Caper. We're here to share a very special recipe with you that has been passed down through the Caper family for generations. The recipe for Caper family shortbread cookies. Are you ready to get started?
Mascots can be more of a hindrance than a help, but oven mitt hands are practical. At James Madison University in Harrisburg, Virginia, Duke the dog likes to bake solo, but as a result, the cookies were shaped like dog treats.
Cookies. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Decorating gingerbread cookies is an event in and of itself. At William Paterson University in New Jersey, President Helldobler hosted a cookie decorating party at his home. The cookies were in the shape of the university's logo, of course. Stanford University included a life-size gingerbread house in their holiday video, with decorations that looked good enough to eat. With, yes, the Stanford logo. I wonder if that house was entirely edible. At Utah's Dixie State University, President Biff Williams and his family got in the holiday spirit peacefully baking cookies for the holidays. Until the First Lady declared war. Gingerbread often sparks some friendly competition. At Boston University, two teams were pitted against each other to build the perfect gingerbread house. One team was comprised of theater students from the College of Fine Arts, the other of engineering students. See if you can tell which is which.
We're trying to go for a log cabin kind of look. So
rustic,
like chalet, Canadian chalet.
Think of like Christmas in New Hampshire.
Our goal is to not fall, but also to have it look a little bit like a townhouse because it's two-story.
I think the protective goggles and X-Acto knife were a dead giveaway, but modern technology can get even sharper. At the University of the Fraser Valley, culinary arts, indigenous visual art, and engineering worked together on an award-winning gingerbread project using the latest technology. Electronics professor Joel Feenstra explained.
Ever since we acquired this wonderful laser cutting and engraving machine a couple of years back, I've been experimenting with all sorts of materials. One of the things I've always wanted to do was create a gingerbread house because we can cut phenomenally tight cuts. We can have incredibly structural buildings with this. Chilliwack is right along the banks of the Fraser River here, and it has been home to indigenous peoples for thousands and thousands of years, and we really wanted to make sure that this project showed that. So it was just this melding of really, really ancient art forms with modern technology and with current baking practices all into this one compact and what we think fantastic looking project.
The University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee shared some amusing examples of gingerbread construction fails.
We've been tasked with building this.
A gingerbread house.
Looks like we've got a couple different types of gingerbread.
Oh no. Oh no.
So many different
Napkins.
Okay, time's up.
I should have had parental guidance today, for sure.
I like yours. It's like a non-traditional take on what could be a traditional building.
You're being nice. Now do we get to eat them?
Yeah.
Because we can't let this one be seen.
That's too much sugar for me.
Great fun and a best-in-class video. But not everybody is afraid of sugar. At Algoma University in Sault Ste. Marie, staff and students gathered round a bonfire to toast marshmallows. Now, I always thought campfires were for summer, but Trent University in Peterborough also incorporated a campfire and sing-alongs in their holiday greeting video. And sometimes, it would seem, s'mores inevitably follow wherever there's a campfire. Dennis Hanno, president at Wheaton College in Massachusetts, had this warning for us.
If you give a lion some graham crackers, you can be pretty sure that more lions will soon be asking you for chocolate bars. And not too long after you've handed over those chocolate bars, you should be prepared to supply some marshmallows, too. And once lions have collected all the ingredients for making s'mores, they will make a bonfire on Chapel Field. Naturally, they'll want to sing some songs, too.
Last year, we also saw some pretty unusual baking videos. Colorado State University shared some tips for baking at high altitude.
So one of the tips for high altitude baking is to use extra large eggs.
Flour is also important during high altitude baking. Even though there's many different types of flour, they all have different amounts of protein.
Baking at altitude can sometimes benefit from a slight increase in oven temperature.
I never thought about it. An English professor from Loughborough University and a historian from the University of Hertfordshire shared an authentic recipe for a 350-year-old meat pie.
The type of cuts of meat that people find off-putting nowadays tended to form the main part of side dishes or complementary dishes in the 17th century. One example of this is the mince pie, or Christmas pie, or December pie as it was also known.
And lots of them call for an ingredient called neat's tongue, but we would better know it as ox tongue. So we thought we'd have a go at recreating one of these recipes.
And as delightful as it looks, we think we might stick to a more modern equivalent.
I think so. Cheers.
Can't say as I blame them. Speaking of inedible holiday recipes, last year, Dean Jean of the University of Waterloo Faculty of the Environment was back with yet another top-notch greeting video.
Since 1969, we've been working on a recipe to create an academic institution where tomorrow's leaders look beyond the classroom and exceptional researchers tackle the world's most pressing questions. And now, to celebrate the holiday season, we want to share this top secret recipe for a sustainable future with you. It starts with an idea, placed in a strong foundation of support and innovation. Some recipes use undergrads for freshness. Some prefer the more mature flavor of graduate students. To take this recipe to the next level, we stir in a generous dollop of alumni, volunteer, and donor support. Next, we're going to add in a healthy portion of cutting-edge research. Now here's a fun hack. I like to remove the silos before adding it in, making it transdisciplinary. With all of these ingredients thoroughly mixed, we are going to let this germinate for about 50 years. Perfect.
Let's call that best in class for a metaphorical recipe. Just as many church services involve breaking bread and communion, gathering to share a holiday feast is a powerful ritual experience. At Colorado College, students and teachers alike recognize the social integration that can occur when dining together.
One of the key pillars of the community is growing food, eating sustainably, eating together. And so we try and come around as a community over food. Just having a space to gather in a very homey place and cooking for people has been really awesome.
I often say that the Bridge Scholars are some of my favorite advisees because I was able to meet them when they first got to college, and it's really rewarding to be able to see them grow. I try to hold smaller get-togethers once or twice in a semester to touch base with them, check in with how they're doing, and to not leave my relationship with them in just a purely academic world. The classroom in some ways, it's more like a gateway towards a deeper relationship.
Although few holiday videos describe the impact of a meal so explicitly, there were plenty of other examples in last year's crop. At Tarleton State University in Texas, President James Hurley clearly enjoyed welcoming students into his home to share a fine meal. At the University of Toronto, Mississauga, campus principal Ulrich Krull likewise shared a fine spread, apparently in a meeting room. At the University of Windsor, on the other hand, interim President Doug Neal took students outdoors to an al fresco holiday meal on a somewhat uncharacteristically mild day in Ontario. But I think the most moving holiday video depicting a campus meal came from the University of Aberdeen. Their video tells the relatable story of a student, perhaps even an international student, away from her loved ones at the holidays. After some scenes showing her studying in the library, our student decides to make the best of things, baking up what looked like mincemeat or perhaps blackberry tarts for her friends. Much of the emotional power of the video comes from the haunting background music, I'll Be Back for Christmas, by progressive rock band Silva.
Well, the lights are shining across the town.
Our student contributes her baking to a small communal celebration by fellow students. The full video is 2.5 minutes long and shot in ultra-wide format. I've had to edit it significantly, like all the videos, for our purposes here. The warmth of the group shines through the cold winter night as they stroll through the Aberdeen campus and join the tree lighting ceremony. Definitely a best in class, this was one of the overall best higher ed holiday videos last year. Okay, well, I'm full. That sums up some of last year's most delicious higher ed holiday videos. You'll find a link to more than 300 others in the show notes, and the start of a 2019 playlist too. If there is one we've missed, please leave us a comment, or add it to the playlist yourself using the special link. We'll be back in a couple more days to look at parodies of classic films and Christmas carols, multiple mascots, and plenty of wagging puppy dog tails in part 3 of our holiday special, When the Fur Flies. To be sure you don't miss it, take a moment now to subscribe. Just in case I don't see you again before you leave for holidays, let me take this opportunity to wish you and yours a peaceful holiday season and a happy and prosperous new year. I hope to see you next time. Ho, ho, ho! An English professor from Loughborough University and a historian from the University of Hertfordshire. I don't know. Ho, ho, ho! An English professor from the University of Hertfordshire. No, Loughborough University. Loughborough University, University of Hertfordshire. Walked into a bar. My foot's going to sleep. Shared an authentic 350-year-old meat pie. Blech. Ho, ho, ho! Ho, ho, ho! Ho, ho, ho! One of those will be all right.